give me some juicy background stories here on how easy is that to do? Because I imagine an integration of brands that have a particularly strong own DNA without Hyatt being the mothership would feel, well, hey, it's worked so far. Why do we, should we adapt much?
Yeah, so it's interesting, the whole integration thing. I think where our portfolios and M&A teams start from, and Mark Hoppelmazing talks about this a lot, and certainly when we purchased ALG, he really was very clear about it, was they actually, I think their starting point often is, is the portfolio somewhere where we haven't got representation, whether it's in terms of segmentation or location? That's obviously a given in terms of what we're looking at, but also culturally. Where is this organization matching with Hyatt, and do our values align with one another? Yeah. And Hyatt has a very strong set of values. We care for people to be our best, which kind of morphs as to whether or not you're a waitress in a restaurant serving a coffee through to me looking after my team. That phrase is actually quite clever because it works on so many levels. And that we care for everybody to be their best, and what we then call the House of Hyatt and our pillars, is that in some way going to align with this organization that we're acquiring? Because if it doesn't, actually from day one, you've got a rebuttal. You've got a rebuttal. When you marry somebody, you kind of want to know.
Make sure it's the right.
Exactly. We're not married at first sight here. We want to date a little first. So that's the first thing, and then I think Hyatt has probably over the course of the last few years, in terms of the acquisitions we made. Two Roads back in 2019, and then ALG during the pandemic, is how do we successfully integrate those organizations in a way that enhances the whole? So we don't want to destroy what we're buying, but we also need to create value. I mean, we're there to create value for our shareholders ultimately. So how do we bring those organizations and onboard them in such a way as to create value? So I think, what we saw, and I felt that we did differently, was when we acquired ALG, actually there was a much clearer cross-fertilization of people from ALG into mainstream Hyatt. So for instance, Javier Aguilera, who came with us from ALG, he's now our group president for EAME. He's got a completely different mindset because he hasn't had 25 years man and boy Hyatt. And he comes into it going, hey, why do you guys do it like this way? So he's been a great challenger for us. And I think we've been a great challenger for him as well. So, so I think that's been a real success story for us as to how we did that. I think the ALG integration has gone much more smoothly than perhaps maybe Two Roads did. And I'm sure that with Standard coming in, we're going to go much more down a road of, they had a very strong lifestyle culture that isn't necessarily, you can't necessarily have that culture and the way that it transmits into the hotels in terms of the activation with each of those hotels in the same way as you would do for Hyatt Place, Hyatt House, Hyatt Regency. So I think we will see a much stronger lifestyle division within Hyatt that perhaps sits to the side of and complements what we're doing in some of the other brands. And I think that's refreshing because actually we're saying, we've just bought you guys and we've got a lot to learn. And how can we take what you're doing, the best bits of what you're doing, and create value in Thomson, in Andaz, and JDV by Hyatt, whatever it might be.
Tell me the role of brands, Felicity, has it changed?
Oh, good. You're still here. I hope you like this stellar episode. Stay a friend of us, like and follow, and be a Smacky for life. Peace.